again, if you have any questions in mind, which you're not able to send ahead, you may still send them through our Q&A chat box. It's directly beside the chat icon. Okay, so please send over your questions so that we can already collect them. We're now 29 participants and counting, and we'll be starting at exactly 2 o'clock. It's already 1:57. If you are just joining us right now, please register through the chat box. Please indicate your company name together with yours and your colleague's name. Okay? And if you have any questions in mind, please direct them to the Q&A chat box, which is directly beside the chat box in your Zoom feed. And of course, if you have your crazy, beautiful hats, please prepare them because you're going to show them off later. Okay, we'd like to acknowledge some of our attendees here. We already have 37 participants online with us right now. Thank you so much for joining us. We have here from Harbor City Dim Sum, Ms. Sweeney Ray Guerra. We also have here Miss Claudine Hibaya from Phil Pacific Insurance. We have Sir Chito Ricamadas, of course. Proud sponsor, thank you, IntelliCare. And we have also our past president, Miss Jean Sanchez, joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. We also have from the Metro Retail Stores Group Incorporated, Ma'am Nympha Tabasa, and Miss Winona Alicaya. Thank you so much, Metro, for joining us. Okay, so it's already 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we have already 42 participants with us right now. May I request all our participants to please be settled, no, in your respective areas. Make sure that you are in a place that you cannot be disturbed while we are having our e-GMM. And right now, we are going to have our invocation to be followed by our national anthem and the PMAP hymn.
The comforts of our homes, in the security of our workplaces. Let us all bow our heads and put ourselves in the presence of our God, the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit. Almighty Father, we thank you for everyone who have gathered today and took the time off their important schedules. We may not be able to greet each other and mingle physically, but we acknowledge the gift of technology that keep us all connected and united, especially in this time of great crisis. We give you our heartfelt praises, Father, because you have kept us well, protected us from the disease, and filled our homes with food to eat and family to love. You are our divine creator and provider, and this has given us the courage not to be too overwhelmed with the challenges ahead as we step into the new normal. We believe that you are amongst us today. We celebrate the gift of life, valuing more than ever your bountiful blessings. Father, we are about to begin a learning journey today. We lift ourselves to you that our comprehension be deepened, our thinking be broadened, and our understanding be transformed as we tackle different issues that matters now to our people. You have tasked each one of us to be stewards in our respective places, our workplaces, and you have placed in our care the welfare of our talents. We therefore seek your grace that we will make wise recommendations and decisions, promoting the common good of all involved. May we represent fairly and well our given responsibilities and be inspirational in our upcoming deliberations and efforts to find a balance within our organization. We also lift to you, O Lord, our respectable resource speakers, who have given them this opportunity to share their expertise and insights so we can make better judgments and conclusions to whatever action we can plan to take. Bless them, inspire them, and motivate them to accomplish their mission today. May they look upon you and make you their wise counselor, their perfect teacher, and their faithful friend. Finally, let us all leave this webinar session with a light-hearted feeling, renewed faith and motivation. Fill us with your wisdom, compassion, and understanding of others, because that is what our profession is calling us to do. May you clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm, and be the source of it for others in this challenging time. This we ask you, Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, our Lord and Savior, and and with the intercession of Mother Mary and all the angels and the saints. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyagan ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisingil. Sa galagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mo bagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may magtitindig. Luman ang araw ng walhaging pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya ng pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Mga
We pledge our loyalty to PMAP, upholding mass respect and dignity. We all hold closer ties and harmony to keep our stand of unity. We believe in a law for a strong economy. We believe in the role of industry. We seek for guidance to our PMAP when problems come of management and men. Where to keep the faith and trust that we have of our fellow men. Where to keep the faith and trust that we have of our fellow men.
Hello, welcome once again to PMAP Cebu's first ever e-GMM. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We are 55 participants strong. Thank you so much for joining us in our virtual GMM. So just to acknowledge, we are not just here via Zoom, but we are also in Facebook. Okay, we are going to be live in Facebook as well. So if you have any friends, colleagues who might want to watch us, join us, they can do so via Facebook. So at this point, to officially open this e-GMM, friends, help us welcome our PMAP Cebu President Grace Iligan.
Hello, a pleasant afternoon to all of you. With the presence of my 2020 board and chairs, Visayas National Trustee, immediate past presidents, Members and guests, I now call this meeting to order. So how's everyone? I think we already shared to you that as early as January 2020, board and chairs planned and prepared programs that we wish to impart during our term. But suddenly, with one snap, everything changes. A simple reminder that sometimes our plan does not coincide with his. And I assume that somehow it is accurate to say that we all experience different difficulties and struggles during this most trying time of COVID-19 pandemic. But we are people managers. I believe everybody are strong and brave. We don't give up easily because we are the real frontliners in our organizations, the very first to get on board and the very last to go. And inspired by that, your 2020 team explored to find means so that we can continue servicing you all. And despite our limited knowledge and uncertainties, we bravely accepted the challenge of utilizing technology. Grateful also to the generosity of IntelliCare to partner with PMAP. So here we are having our first ever e-GMM. And we will continue to deliver weekly webinars for the month of May, which is scheduled every Wednesday. Activities were already lined up for you. Also, I am happy to announce that PMAP 2020 team generously helped Comrel in raising funds for Project Tabang sa Frontliners. Their personal donations, along with other corporate donations, was able to purchase food and PPEs, which were given to different hospitals for frontliners and also to responders. PMAP also supported the noble project Hunaw of RAFI. So special thanks to Trustee Josel Cinco and Trustee Jojo Cinco, who personally facilitated the acquisition and the delivery of the donations with the help of Chair Emily Solon. So for those interested companies who wants to help Comrel is still accepting donations so that they can continue support their programs, just kindly get in touch with our PMAP Secretariat. And as a true-blooded people managers, let's continue to inspire others. Mindful that the happiest people don't have everything. They just make the best of everything they have. With that, I welcome you all to our third e-GMM. Daghang salamat and maayong hapon.
Thank you so much, President Grace, for that very inspiring message. No, indeed, we are in business unusual times. So right now, I guess, I think we'll have to make do with the technology that we have. And here we are, having our first ever e-GMM. And of course, this afternoon is going to be filled with a lot of experience and lessons learned, no, during this COVID pandemic. And one of the our resource speakers this afternoon really championed, no, preparations and other measures to help our community for this. And let's learn from the lessons that they have earned, no? And friends, please help me welcome our first speaker, PMAP Cebu past president and Ramon Aboitiz Foundation Chief People Officer, Mr. Michael Godinez, FPM.
Hi, Sir Ryan. May hapon.
Hi, Sir Mike. Afternoon.
Hi, may hapon sa tanan. Thank you PMAP Cebu Board for 2020 for this opportunity, and Ma'am Grace, IPP Pinky. Thank you IntelliCare for putting this all together. And again, this is an unusual way of doing learning sessions for us. No? So And I think more than ever, we have felt the PMAP, no, in terms of learning sessions. PMAP National has been giving us so many learning sessions, and our Cebu chapter has been very cooperative, and they helped us promote the learning sessions for PMAP National. And then I think I really commend and appreciate that this effort from Cebu chapter for customizing and localizing actually this learning session for everyone. Anyways, I'm so glad, and I'm so privileged to be here and share with you what we have internally. Rafi, as I am really excited to share. I did share the practices that we have in other forums, but it is more heartfelt, and I think mas touch of home when we share it to our PMAP Cebu chapter members. No, since Rafi, we are really grounded and anchored here in Cebu, and as much as possible, we would like to lift, no, the whole island, eventually the whole region to better times. Like we all know how it is now. So let me just pull up my slides and share with you the best practices that we have in RAFI. No? Is it showing? All right. Okay. Again, our mantra for RAFI during this time is about spreading kindness. More than ever, this call to spread kindness has never been pronounced, no? And RAFI being part of the Aboitiz group, we are also under the mandate of the whole enterprise about the call to action regarding the current situation that we are in. So just to share with you both our internal and external activities and initiatives in Ramon Aboitiz Foundation during this pandemic. Let me start by sharing the directive from the Aboitiz family. Once this was, I think as early as February, we already got a call from the Aboitiz family. All mancoms and execoms of the different units were called to action, and there was a common message from the Aboitiz family, no? And this has always been consistent. They will always tell us that during in any disaster, or especially during this pandemic, we always put our people first. So that was the first directive: put people first. So what we did internally is that we now planned and discussed the little that knowledge that we have about this current situation. So let me just categorize our action based on the timeline that we have done our initiatives. First phase is basically the pre-ECQ. When I see the pre-ECQ, this is when the time na wala pa formally announced ang enhanced community quarantine. So just to share internally, as early as the second week of February, we got already information from our head office about the possibility of the spread of this disease. So it was still called nCoV during that time. So as early as the second week of February, we already activated our risk and disaster management committee. So this is composed of the different heads of the different departments and business units of RAFI or Aboitiz, and human capital. Our team is very active, and we already conducted information awareness drive. We sent out flyers twice a week about the nCoV. It was still nCoV during that time. We just wanted our employees to be aware and informed of what's going on. No? And as early as the third week of February, when issues about the virus spreading and could be controlled by the alcohol and washing of hands and thermal scanning. So we already installed thermal scanning in all our offices during the third week of February, and we have provided alcohol in all our entry points, in our workstations. We have we were able to proactively procure alcohol in advance, and we were able to provide our employees this high mga measures on how to during that time beat the nCoV 2019 virus. So We also appointed a risk officer to continuously research about NCOV. So we get information from this person. So all he does is just research about the NCOV during that time. He gets all the information from all possible sources that he could find. Then he presented to he would present it to the Mancom, and we communicate now to the whole population. So we were also strongly connected with the risk board of the whole Aboitiz group. So whatever information, Sir Ian is part of Aboitiz Power. So whatever information all the business units of Aboitiz has about the NCOV 2019, we share it across all other groups now, and we share generally to all our population, about 50,000 employees of the Aboitiz. We also, again, as when we felt like during the first week of March that this was getting serious, it was not yet declared a pandemic. We already provided alcohol to our employees, meaning we were able to procure about 80 gallons of alcohol, and then our employees could refill their containers now up to 330 ml per every 2 weeks. And we already provided vitamin C because based on research, these are the preventive measures during that time that has been identified as very effective. So during the first week of March, we were already busy doing some preparations regarding how to take care of our employees. So we also prohibited all incoming online shopping delivery. Averagely, we receive about 60 delivery, no, from Shopee, from Lazada, for all our employees. So we announced during the last week of February that we will not be accepting deliveries in the offices. So we have prohibited all the incoming deliveries. After that, we activated our business continuity plan committee and started planning for the possible pandemic. This was very challenging because, again, the work from home setup is not something new to us. We have given this privilege to our management team that at least once a week they have the chance to just work from home. But to do this to the whole population, this was really a challenge. We had problems with internet connectivity, especially for our staff. We have also people who are not originally from Cebu, so I think internet connectivity is very limited, or that we have staff that in terms of the residents, medyo hina kayo ang connectivity, as we all know, no, and suffer in Cebu. We also have mandated our IT team to do internal systems and security check, because it's important that we have our own system to continuously work. So like, for example, I know we are currently using Zoom, but we are not allowed to use Zoom internally. Our IT department prohibits using Zoom. So the good thing is that we have an internal system that can also do this, can do teleconferencing, and I think that has also been a major factor, no? Because RAFI, even if it's a foundation, we have always been very particular and very, I would say, conscious about our technological support. So in terms of systems and security, it was just a matter of really informing everyone about the availability of systems and basically the security guidelines on how we go about working from home or working using online platforms. So of course, we also identified that there should be daily huddles, since it's also very difficult for us to monitor and provide visibility, as to our productivity output. So we have daily huddles and productivity reports format or templates in place per team. So and that's all submitted centralized to the human capital. So this is one way of showing also management, although we have sent our people home, we still have records of all their productivity outputs, keeping in mind their KPIs, and still trying to achieve our targets. So as early as the second week of March, we already went on a 50% work from home setup. So there was no mandate yet from the government, but we just felt like it was also the best time for us to test our BCP. So as we all know, RAFI is also located in Parian, so it's a flood prone area. So that the BCP setup could also be, or that the work from home setup would also be very useful for us in the future if we master this setup. No? So knowing that it's a flood prone area and during rainy season, it's always been a problem in that particular area. So we have decided to go for the 50% work from home setup. Social distancing has not yet been that pronounced during this time. We all, as early as also the second week of March, we felt like we need to send everyone home. As at the end of the day, we don't really know. This was the time na medyo nasa height na ang concerns and fear about the pandemic. So we took the initiative to send all of our employees that were assigned in different areas, not just to give you a good visibility of how we are set up. We don't have we have an office in Cebu, but it's not just our office. No, we have about 180 branches spread across the whole Visayas. Our RAFI microfinance has 180 branches. So that we have assigned people na dili sa ilang provinces. So we felt like we need to send them home. We have to give that privilege to our employees to send them home, so that whatever happens during this time, I think at the end of the day, mas importante that you're home. You are with your family. So we took the initiative to let our people go home and see this through. No, but we made sure that the company assisted the transportation and the provision of those employees who decided also to stay and continue working kung asa man sila na-assign na area. We also, as mentioned, this was the challenge. We bought a lot of Wi-Fi, PLDT and Globe, just to assist everyone, because we just decided to put everybody on work from home setup. Not everybody has internet connectivity at home, so we bought a lot of Wi-Fi. How do you call that? So and we also provided them with monthly allowances to sustain their data requirements, because since most of our reports are done online. So this was also a challenge, because during that time, medyo lisod na to procure ang mga Wi-Fi gadgets, because again, medyo everyone was on the rush of buying these things, no? Kasi I think slowly the idea of working from home was already introduced. So again, phase 2, during that was before the ECQ was announced and we were given the executive orders, no, nationwide or for Cebu or for other provinces. So during the ECQ phase 2, we also had different initiatives to take care of our employees. Again, during the third week of March, everybody was on 100% work from home setup. So, but again, as mentioned, our branches were on limited operations. There were transactions not allowed in the branches already. And during the fourth week of March, we already decided to stop the entire operations. Even our Cosa Gorordo, our RAFI, KAC, or the Cool Adventure Camp, we already stopped operations during the third week of March. We already informed our partners that we are no longer accepting clients, no, during this time, and especially Casa Gorordo, because we have a lot of foreigners coming in, no. As part of since we already more or less started the work from home setup, and everybody was getting used to the work from home, we just felt like during the Holy Week, we wanted to give everybody a break. Everybody was already very anxious about the mandates from government. The fear is already in most areas na may mga infected. So and still they were working from home. So we decided that during the Holy Week we will give them mandatory leave. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we requested all our employees to take mandatory leave for spiritual and mental health break. That was just basically the intention. We activated also the call tree. The call tree is the comms, the centralization of our communication system. So all members report to their supervisors to to their managers, and managers to their group heads, and now being centralized to human capital from the different team leaders, no, from the different group heads. So we have a call trace. So every day, the supervisors would call on their members, their team members, and check on how they're doing, especially health-wise. And supervisors report that to the managers, and managers collate all the reports, submit to the group heads, then group heads report to HC. So we have a shared file where everybody can browse and can take a look on the health conditions of our employees. So we religiously do that every day until today. So supervisors and managers are obliged to do the daily health monitoring of their employees. We also open and identified an HR hotline for all employee-related concerns. So especially concerning about medical or health-related, about their safety, mental health concerns, on any other concerns, they can call any human capital staff, and we try to address them as soon as possible. No, so because as basic as an issue nga na napakag-iro or na napakag-iring during the home quarantine, we encountered that. So we needed to provide that hotline so our employees would feel safe, that they could reach out to us anytime. We also have an internal RAFI Prayer Warriors Club. We are doing weekly, just like what PMAP is doing. No, we are doing an online prayer meeting, and again we do regular communication to all employees. We release the salaries. This is also very important that as approved by the Aboitiz group, no, across all other business units, that we will continuously pay our employees during the ECQ. So we assume perfect attendance. We give their salaries 5 to 7 days in advance para ma-avoid lang anong taas nga linya during paydays. We release the 14th month for all regular employees, and 13th month for probationary employees during the 4th week of March. No, and we have an LMS, with a learning management system. So we continuously do our L&D activities. We currently have 6 modules and other webinars, especially for PMAP. We also send this information to all of our employees, and a lot of our employees have participated in PMAP webinars, and also PSTD. If you happen to check on the website of PSTD or their Facebook page, you also have a lot of leadership online seminars. So we also launch support group for all leaders. We have a Facebook group for all managers in RAFI, just to share our challenges and our experiences helping out our members during the pandemic. No? Now, since we are RAFI, the second directive from the Aboitiz family is that since we are RAFI, then we have to do our mandate. Our mandate is that we are here to serve the community. So just to give you a background of what we have done and what we are continuously doing in RAFI, we have 3 kinds of intervention. First is the humanitarian intervention. We give relief packs to indigent families. We have already distributed about 55,000 relief packs to the different municipalities in Cebu. We also have Adapt a Barangay. It's especially for the kids, no? Since most of the relief packs, they don't have like the Cerelac, the things for kids. So RAFI decided to also create to have a relief items or relief pack intended just for the kids. We have already distributed it to about 8,000 families, especially for those in lockdown in Barangay Labangon, in Zapatera. We already given this relief pack for kids. Donations of hygiene materials for elderly homes and children's centers. Kay ato arabang mga kining mga home for the aged, wala baya kayo na attend. So we have already given also mga hygiene materials sa ato ang mga lolos and lolas o kining mga kining mga children's centers. We have partnership with World Vision na may hatag-tag mga hygiene kits, especially for those areas na medyo mga wala kayoy mga provisions, kining mga depressed areas. No? We also have a center na we took care about 500 homeless or street dwellers, no, including street kids. So we have partnership with the Barangay Tinago. So the Barangay Tinago gym is used by RAFI to house and to take care of 500 street dwellers or street kids also. Another initiative that we have is our prevention program. So again, thank you, PMAP. PMAP has been the first, no, the first organization to respond to our call for the Hunao project. PMAP Cebu, Cebu General Services, IntelliCare, they have already partnered with us, and we have been in 6 barangays and served 20,000 to date, no? 20,000 individuals have already used the facilities that we have provided in the barangays. We have the water relief fund. We provide water supply, no, special drinking waters to 522 families, especially in areas in wala kayo water supply in Talisay and in Minglanilla. We have given 5,000 PPEs to the frontliners, especially in the public hospitals, no. So we scouted suppliers of local suppliers for the PPEs, and we have distributed 5,000 already PPEs. The project Comunidad contra COVID is basically an information drive to the public to just mga posters ibutang in the barangay to inform everyone about the realities of the pandemic. And we have the screening and treatment initiatives, no? So rapid testing supplies provision. We are in contact with a supplier, and we're trying to procure and give this to the LGUs for their usage, no? And we have adopted schools, since most schools are used as quarantine areas. We already have identified 15 to 20 barangays, no? We will provide the katong ilang tulganan, ang ilang food, ilang water supplies for these barangays. And we have been actively helping out. We released that our help already with the Bayanihan COVID Center in Cebu, the old Ateneo, no? We took care of the facilities from the CR renovation to the rooms of the frontliners, and basically the beds of the PUMs and the PUIs. So far, those are the things that we have done internally, no? As RAFI, as mandated, this is also very difficult for me in human capital or in HR, no? Okay, the mandate was to take care of our people. I have to make sure that everybody was taken care and make sure that everybody is healthy. Now, when we got that information na okay na tanan, wala pa may tao nga infected, now we have to send again our people out to help the community, because it's not enough that we just took care of our employees. Again, as reminded by the family that we are RAFI, and our core mandate is basically to reach out and help the community. So we had no choice but again to go out and put a lot of our people actually doing the packing, all the LGU connections, all our facilities, and all of my engineers are in the Bayanihan Center helping out, improving the facilities. So that's also very difficult for us until now, because we are monitoring our employees, no, nga nasa sa gawas. So just to share with you lang po, no, since we're running out of time, just to share with you lang our initial re-entry plans and controls, no. So as mentioned, there was an article yesterday released by the Aboitiz group. That's that. The good thing lang for us also in RAFI is that as early as last year, we already started preparing for an agile workplace setup. And I think more than ever, this kind of setup is very useful, and I think mas appropriate siya sa atong current nga situation, no? Especially on the new normal that we're talking about. So just to share with you some of our initial plan is that first is that all employees, no, will be subjected to the rapid testing. That's about 3,000 employees of RAFI. As announced earlier by the DTI, no, that the government will not shoulder the rapid testing of the private sector, no. So we have to allot. From my recollection, the test kits would cost about 800 to about 1,000, no, one piece. So we are looking at 3,000 employees internally, and we also open the options to our employees if they want to bring their family members or any household members to be tested. That will be on employees' account, but that ipa-spread na to in 12 months para dili kayo bugat, no, to our employees. So again, RAFI will advance the payment for those, and I think we already contacted a supplier for this. We will do an employee debriefing before we officially start. No, hopefully May 18 will be the start of the general quarantine. No, we will do before we will make our employees go back, no, before they go back to their respective workstation, all employees will undergo psychological stress debriefing during the first week of reporting back to the office. So I have already prepared initially the modules and trained all our HR team to conduct this debriefing, no, especially for those in the branches. So next week will be the training week for me for most of our employees, for my team in HR, so that we can also conduct a debriefing for our employees. We have workforce and social distancing as mandated by the government. So even if we will be on GCQ, we will only require 50% or less, no, of our employees to work. Again, that we have about 6 floors, workable 6 floors. So we have a maximum of 20 employees per floor, just to ensure social distancing. The capacity of our office is about 50 to 60 employees, no, every floor. But now we're maximizing. The maximum is basically about 20 employees. So and the team leaders will always make sure na sila magbuhat sa schedule. So then they have to submit the list, no, to our guards. So if your name is not on the list, you're not allowed entry in the office. So we just have to make sure that social distancing is maintained. Our lunch breaks will be scheduled. So we also post the schedule for lunch break. We have scheduled office exit time lang. So since we are already on RAFI, even before the pandemic, we are on a flexi working schedule. So our employees can come in between 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and they can go out from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So we'll schedule it like that na dili po magdungan ang mga employees pag sud o paggawa sa office, because especially issues on the elevators and stairs, no. So we would like to avoid crowding or any mass gathering. So in the visitors and suppliers, we have a special area where the visitors and our suppliers can go when they have a business transaction with us. Face mask, we have already procured. Hopefully it will be delivered next week. We'll provide all 3,000 employees at least 2 pieces of washable cloth mask. No, we have already ordered this, and we will require everybody to wear the mask inside the office. So again, as mandated, no mask, no entry. So we have provided our employees the mask. Elevators, again, the use of elevators will be limited to 3. The capacity is 8, but we will just limit it to 3. There will be continuous checking of temperature, so we'll be still very strict with that. Hand sanitizers will still be available across all the working facility. Sanitizing. We have a shower facility in the office. Everybody can do that. And of course, the office disinfection, that's daily. And of course, katong fumigation lang every Sunday to just avoid. No? And again, regular monitoring of affected barangays. Employees with flu-like symptoms will be sent home. Then again, employees, family members, we also would want our employees to take note of the employees, no? Ilang mga families na ba safe ba. Just in closing lang, no? Again, we're doing this because this is the mandate of our organization, no? Let me just share with you the quote of our founder, Don Ramon, no? The dignity of man is best respected by helping him realize his hopes and by sharing with him the burdens of his fears. So that's why RAFI is here, because we are here to serve the least, the last, and the lost. So thank you everyone for giving me the time, no, to share with you what we have done internally. And again, just so, like what we do in RAFI, we're requesting and encouraging everyone to please spread kindness. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Mike. Thank you so much, Sir Mike, no, for sharing our organization's response to this crisis. No, so very inspiring, Sir Mike. We do have a few questions here right now. So, Sir Mike, a question here was raised with regards to productivity.
Yes, sir.
The question is, productivity is expected to decline. What are the programs you have put in place to ensure that everyone is able to meet the required production output or quota?
Yeah.
And how do you deal with those so consistently fail to meet this?
Actually, sir, that's why we have strongly promoted the LMS, or the learning management system. This is our online training platform, because it's given, and sometimes it's also a management decision. When we had our mancom, everybody agreed that your usual or your usual target or expected productivity from your employee, you should put it around 60 to 70%. And you know, guys, so sometimes even if the employees are very much dedicated or willing to contribute, there are so many factors that you also have to consider, the mental health of everybody during this time, and not to mention technological problem, no, that the issue of connectivity, because sometimes that comes to play, no, and really impedes the productivity of it. But again, expectation lang, and I think everybody, all managers should also put in mind na you don't expect the same output. You have to lower it down. And with us in RAFI is that we also supplement that, no, since most of our employees, sometimes it's just difficult to work on your regular outputs. Like for example, for our talent acquisition team, lisod kayo magsige lang sila interview when in fact you don't actually know as to what positions are actually needed or kano sa atamo staff of expansion or hiring of people. So we supplement that by learning sessions. That this is the best time for employees to have time to learn, no? So kami mas dako ang amo ang LMS or among learning management system requirement for completion than the actual target of the KPI. So we have 6 modules. Everybody was expected to complete the 6 modules during the second week of May. So that's probably about 30 hours of training. So not to include, no, kaning mga webinar sa PMAP na most of our members are very happy to join. And other my team, I have a talent optimization team that actually research. They really create mga programs, even cooking. They have cooking. They have Zumba session. They have maybe DIY and everything that you can just fill up. And again, it's just a mindset that telling all managers to just open your mind na dili na gid ka mag-expect the same output.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Mike. So we have here other questions, sir. One question is, can you share what are your practices on employee debriefing?
Yes, sir.
Is it through a one-on-one group session? Yeah.
Actually, part of our HR hotline, most the quality process is that we have daily huddles. All team leaders or all managers talk to their employees, and we send them also learning sessions in terms of how you handle stress or how you handle the mental health concerns for employees during the pandemic. But there's also an escalation process. If the manager or the team lead is no longer able to more or less answer the gravity of the situation, so they have an escalation process. They forward it to me. I have a group of clinical psychologists that could also help us in terms of assessing the need, no, if there's a need for a one-on-one, because again, this varies man, depende man sa coping mechanism sa mga tao, no. I think it's not just about kan sa inyong employee, but actually as an individual, naman tayo lang coping mechanism. So, but for us internally, we have a group session. We have virtual team buildings. We have virtual debriefing. If there's one thing that we have more or less put in place is the gamification of activity. So these things help. But for those na medyo maseryoso og concern for mental health, we refer them to professionals. We have contacts with professionals like clinical psychologists. San Carlos has this provision. I have partnership with San Carlos. So willing sila to help employees, no, or individuals kung naikinahanglan og one-on-one debriefing sessions.
Thank you so much, Sir Mike. That's truly inspiring, no? We'd like to acknowledge here a live phone-in question. Irene Rosal, are you there? Miss Irene, are you there? Can you please start your video? Miss Irene? Yeah, please just click the start video and you can already start ask your question.
Saan man pag-on? Saan man? Saan man?
Okay, we can hear her already, but we want to see you, Miss Irene. Can you please share your video with us? You just click on start video in the lower left corner beside your microphone. Just click on the start video, then
Pwede ka join dong?
we can actually hear you, sir, ma'am Irene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
Can you?
Ayan.
Yeah.
Because I'm here in our IT office.
Okay. Can you use your video?
What a video dong? Sa laptop? Because we are currently in a skeletal workforce here in San Fernando.
Yeah, it's all right, ma'am. Okay, ma'am, maybe you can go ahead, ask your question to Sir Mike, and he can hear you.
Sir,
Miss Irene?
again? Sorry, sir.
Can you ask your question to Sir Mike? Because he can hear you already. You might probably have not a very good signal for your video.
Yeah, sir. I will ask later, sir. I'll just formulate question later.
Okay. So anyway, we'll get back to you, Irene. Sir Mike, we do have another question here. They're asking, who is your supplier for the rapid test kits? And who is the accredited DOH lab in Cebu City that you are partnering with?
Yes, sir. We are still we are not yet in liberty to share, you know. But we have already more or less contacted gawas kini siya, no. I think the supplier that our procurement team has contacted is based in Korea. So currently we are still in contact with DOH if that we can help them organize this partnership with two actually, so if I can recall, duha ka local nga laboratory, si HP and LH Prime, if I'm not mistaken. But their permit is still being processed, but we're helping them out. This is part of our mandate, no? Mandate the rapid testing provision. So we're trying our best to also help them connect with DOH. And I think on process na ang negotiations, sir. So we will share with all the PMAP members once we get a good supply, finalize na ba ang amo ang supplier and the process. So we'll share that as part of our best practice here in PMAP for us to share to our membership, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Sir Mike. So I think we already have Irene back. Irene, we already saw your video a while ago. Can you please turn your video again and ask Sir Mike your question? Irene, you're on mute. Okay. Okay, we can hear you now. Please start your video. We can hear you already, ma'am. Oh. Okay, Miss Jean Sanchez also raised her hand. So Miss Jean, can you start your video and ask your question to Sir Mike? Okay, Miss Jean, you are now able to talk and start your video. Please go ahead.
That's okay. No video, please. No video lang.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
No, I'm sorry. I don't really have a question. I was just tinkering on the icons. But anyway, this is an opportunity to thank Mike for sharing, no? And I already made a comment in the chat that your continuing online LMS for your staff is a really good practice. It's a best practice that companies must, I think, also try, because at this point in time when we cannot hold training sessions or not even coach our employees, this is a very good venue to go for mga free webinars and to allow our employees to still continue to learn, no? So that's a really good best practice, and I'm hoping that many companies will follow suit, or maybe HR in the companies will start to have that for their own staff and employees. So thank you very much, Mike, for sharing.
Thank you, Ma'am Jean.
Actually, thank you, Ma'am Jean.
I agree with Ma'am Jean. I think it's about time for all HR practitioners to take a look at this platform. No, I think we're talking about our new normal here. This will be part of the new normal. I mean, and I guess this is the best time for us to convince if you don't have this yet, to convince management to invest in this kind of platform, because at the end of the day, for us, no, internally, feeling na mo slowly paying off na good ang investment because of this platform, and we are so happy that our employees are able now to adjust, no, and adapt to this kind of learning platform. And I think any kind of kanang facility, no, to just help out improving the competency of our employees through webinars, or magnito pagoding internal learning platform, because we can customize also based on the requirements of our organization. So guwapo na nata external, but I suggest that we also do our internal curation of learning materials for our employees.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Mike. No, so as you can see, I mean, we can do a lot. Sir Mike has shared with us a lot of best practices, and I hope that RAFI's response to this crisis will serve as an inspiration and a learning for you to adopt these measures. Thank you so much, Sir Mike. We appreciate it.
Sir Ayan, just like last thing lang, no, just a shameless plug. If you still, as an individual or even as our organization, if you still don't know how to help, please contact us. RAFI is very much willing to spread kindness more, even if I know that this pandemic will still be here for a long time, and I think all of us here present are privileged enough to still enjoy this kind of activity, or and I think looking at our other brothers and sisters nga walay inaning privilege. So if you feel like in your heart you still have the call to help, please contact us. We assure you that pinaka kuani mo nga centavo will be put to good use, and especially helping out our community, especially for those who are the least lost and last in our community. We continuously commit as RAFI to serve the community.
Yeah, thank you so much again, Sir Mike. Such an inspiration for all of us. Our participants are asking Sir Mike if will you be able to share your presentation to them?
Yes, sir. I already gave it to Sir Neil, so Sir Neil could email it to the participants.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sir Mike.
Thank you, sir.
So, stay safe, Sir Mike.
You too. Stay safe, everyone, and spread kindness, please.
Okay, that was Mr. Michael Godinez, no, from RAFI. So right now we are going to our next learning session to talk about the ECQ due to global pandemic, usual labor and employment issues during and after an unusual time. Friends, please help us welcome another PMAP Cebu past president and also partner of the CSIP Gatmadcan Law Office, Attorney Alan Fontanosa. Good afternoon, Attorney Alan. Are you
Yes.
there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Attorney Alan.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. So we have several questions for you, sir. Would you but before that, would you like to say a few words to our members?
Well, I have actually I was thinking of giving a spontaneous lecture, but I think if there's only 30 minutes, I don't think I can finish this. So I've actually prepared a write-up. Perhaps if you allow me, I can explain the issues to you. I'll try to be very short about this. Hopefully, I'll be able to give more insights to you. I'm not here to dampen your spirits, to freak you out, to panic you. I'm here to make you prepare for the eventualities. Because whether we like it or not, there's a problem. And as a lawyer, I've always tell my client that we have to be prepared for all scenarios. We have to have contingency plans. We should know what we will do if this and that thing will happen. So I hope you will allow me to do this now so that somehow I can give you ideas on how to cope with the problem.
Yep, please go ahead, Attorney Alan.
Okay. As you may know, there are a lot of labor and employment issues that are in our midst as soon as the global pandemic has started spreading its lethal and killer venom in our land. The most common of which are no work, no pay, flexible work schemes, work from home arrangement. I used to know only work at home, but now it's work from home. Skeleton workforce, layoff, closure of business, and termination. So as far as no work, no pay principle is concerned, the general concept is that if an employee is not ready, willing, and able to work, then the employer has no obligation to pay them. This concept, however, does not recon or factor in the existence of an execu, which legally prevents employees from reporting for work based on a legal mandate. I repeat, it's a legal mandate and not on management's decision. So unless a work from home arrangement is agreed upon, or there is a contrary agreement or policy, which I doubt much because employers are not ready for this, the principle applies to those who are out of work. They are not entitled to pay. Now, of course, the good director, I think, will attend, and they actually issued an order about, or policy, or circular encouraging employers to let the employees use their unused credit leaves. Okay. However, in my case, when I talk to a client, I always tell them, let the employee make the choice. Let us be very democratic about the leaves, because employees might have intended their leaves for this year to attend important family gatherings or personal activities. So I'd rather give that to the employees to choose, to decide on. As will be expounded shortly later, it may happen that the employer will be compelled to reduce the number of regular working hours in order to avert further losses, such as when there is a substantial plunge, reduction, or slump in the orders, or the demand for products in the market, or when there is lack of raw materials. In such case, the affected employees will have no wages for the unworked days under the principle of no work, no pay. So, it is a matter of public knowledge around the world, and judicial notice can even be taken, that the coronavirus 2019 or COVID-19 outbreak and pandemic has become a worldwide and global pandemic, as officially proclaimed by the World Health Organization. The nature, extent, prevalence, and magnitude of which has never been experienced by mankind since World War II, especially in terms of endangering and risking mankind's lives, health, safety, and well-being. Like the rest of Asia, Europe, the Americas, and the Philippines has not been spared from the pandemic and its catastrophic and adverse effects. In fact, the rampant existence and ruinous effects of COVID-19 has led to the succeeding impositions of the general or community quarantine and enhanced community quarantine or modified lockdown in our country and the rest of the world. Consequently, the total or modified lockdown has resulted in a substantial reduction, if not total stoppage or halt, of business operations and activities, especially in non-essential establishments. Even then, the operations and businesses of the essential establishments have been hampered and disrupted. And we're not only talking of the supply chain problems. Specifically, on March 8, 2020, the President of the Philippines issued a proclamation numbered 922, declaring a state of public health emergency throughout the Philippines. After the WHO officially declared COVID-19 as a pandemic on March 11, 2020, our President issued a proclamation declaring a state of calamity throughout the Philippines. This lasted until, initially in Luzon, this lasted until April 12, 2020. However, due to the rising cases of COVID-19 infection in the Philippines, as in other parts of the world, the executive order Luzon has been extended until April 30, which means that we'll go back to work tomorrow. But no, because the executive has been extended in most of the biggest business and economic areas of the Philippines, including Metro Manila, Central Luzon, and Cebu, until May 15. Now, there has been so much talk about modified SQ, modified CQ, which may be the normal for us here in Cebu. I suppose you have seen the plan guidelines under this latest scheme of things. And the good director may react on this, but the DOL, as reported in the business world, issued a statement this Sunday, to the effect that out of the 271 establishment reports, which I'm sure you're familiar with, submitted as of April 24, affected workers ballooned further to 2,073,362. And most of these workers are either into layoff or temporary business closures, or reduced working hours, forced leave, and work from home. And if we say good news, I think the good news is Cebu is not in the list of the topmost areas which have reported these kinds of arrangements or decisions. For me, there can be no question that the global pandemic is a force majeure or fortuitous event. You may or you may not want to call it act of God, but the courts are expected to rule it to be so. Hence, any legitimate action that an employer may undertake or implement in order to address the harsh, adverse, and debilitating business impact and dire consequences of the global pandemic is justifiable. Under the current situation, employers are constrained to adopt and implement cost reduction schemes and remedial measures to at least lessen, reduce, or mitigate business losses and damages. They are also expected to enforce preventive measures meant to avert the possibility of partial or total closure. In fact, I've already received inquiries about right sizing. I don't want to call it downsizing because it's rather negative. I usually call it right sizing. And my always, I've been a management lawyer for almost 32 years. I always felt for the employees. Even the complainants in the cases that I handled, I've always tried to settle the case with them for as long as they're reasonable. And that's why I've been urging clients as much as possible that if we can avoid termination, let's do it. But there are consequences. That's my next topic. So we're talking about diminution or elimination of benefits. As you know, under Philippine law, we have this principle on non-diminution of benefits. Okay, and it started on May 1, 1974, because it's actually Article 100 of the Labor Code. Okay, the Article 100 of the Labor Code prohibits the elimination or diminution of benefits. It says that nothing in this book shall be construed to eliminate or in any way diminish supplements or other employment benefits enjoyed at the time of promulgation of this code. However, this provision has been enlarged and expanded to cover other forms of reduction or elimination of benefits. Now, on the other hand, there are also a lot of cases, where the Supreme Court says that the prohibition of benefits is actually those that are caused by the unilateral act on the part of the employer. Because the law does not prohibit parties from freely agreeing, I emphasize, freely agreeing to such diminution. Indeed, there is nothing in Article 100 which could be construed to prohibit consented reduction of benefits. But then again, if you notice, the law always has an exception. And if there is an exception, there's also an exception to the exception. Okay, I will discuss it later on. That's why not so many lawyers will pass the bar, as shown in the data today. Okay, the bar results just came out. Okay, and I understand the passing is only 27+%. It's actually higher than what I experienced, because in my batch it's not even 17%. Also, there are some few instances. I'm talking about 2 cases decided in 1990 and 1998, where the Supreme Court has recognized, okay, you have to note this, has recognized unilateral diminution of benefits as part of the measures that may be implemented prior or parallel to retrenchment to forestall losses. One of these scenarios is when the employer faces imminent or existing substantial financial losses, and see diminution, take note of this, and see diminution is a measure taken in lieu of the drastic act of retrenchment. Now, of course, as I said, these are decisions in 1998. At this time, we are not talking only of a local or national pandemic, but a global pandemic that affects almost all of the world's biggest economies, from the US, Europe, Russia, China, and the rest of Asia. Today, we might not be talking only of recession, and God forbids, I hope it's not repression or depression. Okay. Our central bank governor's optimistic outlook, take note of this, optimistic outlook for the Philippines is a U-shaped economy where we will have a recession this year, as the pandemic halted most of the economy since mid-March, and a high recovery possibility by 2020. Take note, it's a possibility. Okay. According to the governor, the strong recovery is based on the assumption, again, take note of this, it says assumption that the pandemic is contained in the second half of 2020. So they're looking at June or July to December. If the pandemic is contained, then we will have a higher possibility of recovery in 2020, which is good for us. Okay. Well, as they say, hope springs eternal. But for me, a well-guarded optimism is the least we can do or have. Hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. I'm not trying to instill fear or panic, but realities do bite. And this time, they bite harder. And in the real world, economic contraction or recession begets unemployment, because employers are forced to terminate employees and freeze hiring. Of course, the dole has laid down the flexible schemes meant to minimize or reduce terminations and keep unemployment low. However, please note that these schemes and arrangements were crafted without COVID-19 in mind. We are now in a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic or catastrophe, not seen in our worst nightmares. This flexible work scheme, especially on reduction of work days, where the normal work days per week are reduced, and the rotation of workers, where the employees are rotated all alternately provided work within the work week, would actually result in lesser pay and benefits, which are actually the same thing, actually with diminution of benefits. What I am trying to drive at here is I hope the employer and the employees will understand each other well and work hand in hand in efforts meant to retain employment. Gone are the days when we can argue at the slightest provocation and on the most trivial issues. More than ever, we have to make sacrifices. And I further hope that the employees will see the light of giving free consent to the elimination or reduction of benefits or deferment of payments, as at least one of my clients is mulling over. You see, I have a client who asked me on the deferment of wages, payment of wages. They're talking about 20%. And I told the legal counsel for Asia that I was so happy that they're making that decision, because at least the employees would still get the wages if the conditions to give the wages will be there, okay, instead of just cutting it off. Okay. Many companies have considered or implemented pay cuts. Even the biggest companies and law firms around the world have cut not only the wages of employees, 15 to 20%, as far as I have seen in the law firms notices, okay, but also cut the partner's income or drawings as high as 50%. I hope I will not be a victim of this. Okay. A big bank has done it. A local big bank in the Philippines. I think the executives and managers, or at least the executives, agreed to pay cuts. Okay. You see, there are many ways to kill the cat, as they say. The employer can close and reopen later when economic situation allows for it, but the employee might not be able to find another job apart from the limited openings. There will be so much competition for the vacancies. So under a present conundrum of whether to retain employment or right size, flexi work schemes are but among the stopgap or interim measures. Again, I'll repeat, these are only interim measures. They are not the solutions. And thus, the employer may even go further down the line of stopgap measures like laying off employees, which the law allows. Now, I'm talking here of temporary layoff, okay, for 6 months. It's good for 6 months, but there are requirements. And one of the debates here is whether an employer is required to give a 30-day notice, prior notice. Now, why is it that there's a debate on this? Because there is one weird and strange Supreme Court decision where the justice, I think, was confused and said that in permanent or temporary layoff of employees, the 30-day notice requirement is required. However, there is also at least a decision where the Supreme Court said that because in temporary suspension of work or layoff, there is no dismissal, then the 30-day notice requirement or the notice requirements and for dismissals for authorized causes thus do not apply. And one of these is a 30-day notice. Okay. Anyway, if you want to play conservative about it, you may give the 30-day prior notice. However, you have to gauge it based on the operations that you have, because there are companies whose operations are very sensitive and delicate. We cannot. I'm not trying to say that you cannot trust employees, but there might be employees who are emotionally charged that they might do something bad to your operations. Okay, so you have to discuss this with your lawyers if you have them. Okay. Now, so what's the judgment call? For me, if you ask me, it's job retention. As much as possible, employees should try to keep jobs at all costs and cooperate with their employers in finding ways to ensure continued employment. Of course, we can talk about rights and laws forever, but at the end of the day, one needs money in his or her pocket in order to survive and tide over the hardships that will surely come after or follow SQ and COVID-19. Although some has said everything has already started. Okay, we need open and broad minds here, and there is no certainty as there is no certainty as to when the old normal and our normal lives post-COVID or pre-COVID-19 will come back, if it is even possible. Okay. for the employers, let me stress, and I'm sure you are interested to this, there is a proper way to document the getting and giving of employee consent. If you are HR practitioners, you have to ensure that this is done well and properly by your employer, because your employer and you might face an unnecessary labor litigation which will only enrich your lawyers. Of course, I'm not saying they don't welcome it, okay. But that's it. Okay. So this is my discussion of the topics that are mentioned, the questions that were posed. No, I'm giving my insights to them because I don't have much time. Okay, I could have discussed this more, but I have to shorten it. So I'm done with my presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Attorney Alan Fontanosa, no, for those very enlightening discourse, no, with regards to the pandemic crisis that we are going through right now and its labor implications, no. We do have here, Attorney Alan, four of the most common questions, no, that we've received, no, earlier. So the first question is, what are our options in a COVID-19 crisis situation? I know that you discussed this about that you are for the retention, but then some companies are really struggling, and there is really a need for them a choice between elimination or termination. So how should they go about it?
Well, I think we have to make a decision because, well, one thing is you have to decide whether you can survive and how long it is, okay? Because if I were your lawyer, I will always, as I've said, I've always appealed to my client not to terminate, okay? That's my first, I will say it's even my request, okay? However, of course, at the end of the day, my client will have to make the decision because it's actually a management prerogative. It's a judgment call. It's a business judgment. So that's why I emphasize that employees, because of course, as I've said, there are two cases decided by the Supreme Court where the court said that the employer is even allowed to do a unilateral diminution of benefits, if only as a preventive measure or a stopgap measure to prevent retrenchment of employees, which is actually the last resort. Okay, we have read in the decisions, it's always the last resort. However, as I've said, times are different. We are in a different world right now. So the employer will have to decide whether to just lay off first, and how many employees will be laid off, and how long would it be. Now, if layoff cannot be done, because some employers are also thinking that if you lay off the employees, the layoff period is actually counted in computing their separation pay eventually. Okay? So if you're talking about an employee is about to reach 6 months, that would mean that employee, you're talking about an employee who has a fraction, like for example, it's 1 month, he's in the company for 1 year and 2 months. If you lay off that employee for at least 4 months, that would mean you have to pay the equivalent of 2 months separation pay. So some employers don't want that to save money. Okay, so now there are actually options here. It could be retrenchment if there are financial losses. Okay, and losses here, I'm not talking only of actual losses. It may be imminent. For as long as there is imminence of losses, you are allowed to retrench. However, in my case, as much as possible, I would ask the client to do a redundancy. Again, because I want to, as much as possible, if my client can afford for it and they want to do it, I'd rather want to give more money to the employee who is separated. Because of course, if it's retrenchment, it's 1/2 month. If it's redundancy, it's 1 month. So there's a huge difference.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Attorney Alan. Some of the questions actually are related to that, and I guess you were able to answer most of them. But we do have a few novel questions, Attorney, brought about by this new business normal that we have. One question here is it legal to conduct admin hearings remotely?
Well, actually, we don't consider that in, well, of course, our labor code is 1974 vintage. So, as you can see, the labor code is one of the laws in the Philippines that is like, that's like a plague. Our congressmen and senators would not dare touch it because it's always a case of death to touch it. So, it does not contemplate this situation. But if I'm your lawyer, I won't tell you not to do it now because the situation is not, it's not favorable for an employee to think properly. Okay, if you can defer it after the SCQ or during the modified SCQ, modified CQ, then that's the better approach. Because if I were your lawyer, the first thing that I'll do is to prevent that employee from filing a case. I don't want cases because it can be very expensive. It can be very costly. So I've always advocated for the practice of averting cases, but it will entail a lot of work, and it starts with the gathering of evidence. And this is included in, and this issue is included in that. I'd rather have a face-to-face hearing than Zoom. Maybe you're facing each other, but it's totally different. And what if the employee wants a lawyer? So the lawyer will also be in the Zoom. So I don't think it works that way.
Okay, thank you so much, Attorney Alan. We have a live phone-in question here right now from Miss Shilito Osomo. She is the HR Director of the Dusit Tani Hotel in Mactan. Miss Shilito?
Yes, Sir Ian. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Can you start your video, ma'am?
No video.
Okay. Attorney Alan, can you hear Miss
Yes.
Shilito?
Yes.
Okay. Miss Shilito, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, Attorney Alan Selly here. Question. Our company is considering the 25% pay cut approach. Now, some associates agreed to the proposal, some did not. Now, my question is, can we force those who did not agree to sign the consent or not?
Well, as I've said, there are actually at least two decisions where the Supreme Court ruled that it can be done if it's part of the stopgap measures to prevent retrenchment. Okay. So now, the problem there is that if they don't agree, of course you can do that. Okay, but of course, but consequently, it can invite cases. It might fight cases against you, which you might want to fight it out. In a way, well, I don't think there's ever a court who will say that there's no pandemic and that there are no reasons for a drastic action by management, because even government is doing it. Okay.
True.
So, the other option is, of course, you will reduce the number of people. But the problem there is that you cannot choose those who don't agree to be separated. Okay, you cannot do that. So these are actually the two options. You can actually do it, force the issue, and then let them go to court, file cases, or you can actually just reduce the number of people. Perhaps you can talk to them again and emphasize this with them. Because at the end of the day, if I talk to employees, at times when I talk to employees, I always counsel them that, you see, if you're an employee, I'm not saying that you have no rights. You have no courses of action, including legal action. But then again, if the employer does not like you, your life will be a little bit harder, if not miserable.
Thank you, attorney.
Okay, thank you so much, Attorney Alan. So I think at this point, Attorney Alan, we are now going to the next part of our e-GMM, which is going to be our yes, we are going to have a break, but after the break, we are going to have our coffee table discussion. Okay, sorry, I just so Attorney Alan, we are going to have a coffee table discussion with with RD Mimi Shaton, no, our special guest, which is our regional director for Dole Region 7. So Attorney Alan, and also to our viewers, you may have a quick break. You may catch a quick break. We're going to have a 2-minute break, and then afterwards, we're going to be back for the coffee table discussion with Attorney Alan Fontanosa and RD Mimi Shaton. So grab your coffees. Okay. So again, you may grab a coffee, and then you may also prepare your hats for later. Let's have a quick break. Okay, so welcome back to our e-GMM. So right now we're going to have our coffee table discussion. And right now, again, as I've mentioned to you, we have a very special guest this afternoon who really made time for this. Friends, none other than our director, Salome Mimis Yaton, no? Regional Director of Dole Region 7. Okay, she will be joining Attorney Alan Fontanosa for our coffee table discussion. And of course, we have already a few questions for Director Shaton. Director, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you already. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Director.
Good afternoon, Attorney. Thank you for making our lives so simple. You have discussed a lot. And
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy that you are helping us clarify some gray areas for the employers.
Yes, Director. That's my advocacy.
That's good. And I love what you said. We have the rights and laws, but we're after for survival. And
Yes.
I agree. I do agree with you.
Okay. So again, friends, please do ask your questions to Attorney Alan and RD Mimi, no, through our Q&A chat box is just beside the chat box. So right now, I'm going to throw a few questions to RD Mimi, rather. RD Mimi, since it's going to be May 1 shortly, what is our treatment for the May 1 regular holiday, such as if an employee is on forced unpaid leave on April 30, can he not be paid on May 1?
Yung mga leaves natin ay nandoon na yan sa laws, no? Klaro na yan. Sana the day before the holiday, they must be present for them to be entitled to the holiday pay. However, if you look at the issuance of the Secretary of Labor and Employment last time, inalaw nga yung Holy Week na holiday. However, nag-issue ng additional advisory doon na may title, Deferment of Payment of Holiday Pay for those periods. So yung mga ganon, hindi ko man pinipreempt kasi the issuance has not been given. But then historically, there was already an issue last time where the Secretary was able to issue advisory number 13-A. Yun, nagsabi doon na deferment of holiday pay. So tingnan natin on that aspect, hindi ko i-preempt si Secretary, but bigyan natin si Attorney will not also deny na ito talagang provisions of the law. But at this time, is it timely for us to pay the workers na nag-render sila ng holiday pay? So tingnan naman natin. Kasi the day before the holiday, kung present sila, even if they will not work, they're entitled to the pay, di ba? So yun lang ang ano natin. Kasi at this time, are they really? So may nabigay na si SEC last time, kahit hindi sila, deferment lang muna. Hindi dinideny. I-defer lang yung Holy Week.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, RD Mimi. There is also another question. Actually, these were questions sent over via email, no, by our attendees. Even after the lifting of the ECQ, is it still expected that businesses will not go back to its normal phase and that some employees will still be on forced leave, reduced work hours, rotation, etc.? Will the government still provide cash assistance to affected employees?
We cannot preempt the situation. As said kanina ni Attorney, which I do agree, kasi even there were already may pinipreempt, no, mag-recover tayo from this period, but we are not yet certain about those situations. So kapag nag-make tayo ng decision, hindi man yan, based on certainty man yan. So pag sinabi natin yung tao ba, pwede ba silang mabigyan ng mga benefits, hindi pa nga natin alam. Let us go to these situations when it comes. So doon na natin masabi, if this situation, hindi nga natin baka 2 months or a month from now, baka wala na rin si COVID, di ba? So hindi natin alam ang situation. So ang ano lang talaga is, kailangan pa ba may ganito sila or what? So yun, we cannot preempt the situation. Yun ang sagot ko doon.
Okay, thank you, RD. So just last lang on the pre-sent questions on camp. Someone said that they have already received a notice that their camp has been approved, but until now they have not received it yet. So what are the statuses of those who have already been approved but have not yet been released or issued?
Okay. Let me give you a kasi kailangan naman ngayon i-discuss ito since this is the first time that we were able to come para ito ngayon, nandito tayo, virtual na nga. We were able to receive 3,485 establishments that have applied for CAMP, COVID Adjustment Measures Program. Ito for formal sector workers. Ito in-apply ni company for the benefit of the workers na financial assistance in the amount of 5,000 pesos one time. To answer if they have applied for FWA na kanina, temporary nga, sabi ni attorney, nag-apply sila, so therefore, nag-flexible working arrangement, nag-job rotation, nag-shorten work week or work days, nag-forced leave, o kaya nag-temporarily shutdown sila because of the situation. Now, ngayon, ang affected workers dito sa na-open na natin is 86,776. Ito ang total. Ngayon, how much lang talaga ang mabigyan natin? Ang mabigyan natin is only 39,792. So pag tiningnan mo, more than one half will not be given. Nag-cut off na si Dole hanggang April 15, so wala na si Camp, pero marami pang nag-email, nag-crash na nga yung ating mga kasi voluminous talaga ang nag-email. So hindi pa namin lahat ma-open, may unopen kami more than 5,000 because of the internet problem. Nag-seek na ako ng assistance ng ating mga partners sa government na ayusin, talagang nahirapan tayo. So these are all the situations that we have come. Now, ang issue lang dito is we have already paid 22,618 workers. Nakabayad na tayo. But we still have to pay 17,714. So for those of you that are waiting, we are working on it. Please do understand. Talagang walang tulugan na itong mga bata dito. Hindi ito madala work from home kasi they have to work as a team. So, dito na sila natutulog, dito na sila nag-Holy Week para lang ma-address natin itong online lahat eh. So, ito ang nangyari natin. Kung nabigyan kayo ng notice na approve na siya, pakihintay-hintay ng konti. Sana we are going to work on it at saka mabigyan kayo kaagad. Hindi ko ma-commit, no? Pero we are going to make use of the funds hanggang April or else the cash will also lapse. Pero gagamitin talaga namin itong cash namin for this. Kasi marami pang babayaran. Yun lang, individually, we have to encode the names of those na talagang entitled through a payroll. So, imagine mo yun yung mga ganito kalaki, karami, on a payroll, on individual, isa-isa, bigyan mo ng mga numbers nila where they can be contacted in case na approve na. So these are all mga situations. May deadline pa rin kami na lahat ng mga pangalan isubmit namin doon sa ating national office, sa aming office, para itong list na to maibigay din doon sa ating mga partner agencies kasi nagtapos si Camp, pumasok naman yung isang agency, yung DOF natin, Department of Finance, through the SSS at BIR. Yun ang ano natin. So, para hindi ito ma-duplicate, yung nabayaran ni Dole, bigyan din yung ating agencies of the government na talagang working on this particular programs.
Okay, thank you, RD Mimi, for giving an update with regards to the camp. So we have here a question for Attorney Alan. This is with regards to the work from home arrangement, Attorney Alan. The question goes, when the company decides to implement the work from home scheme, is the company obliged to subsidize some cost or portion of cost at home, like establishing internet connection or ergonomic working tools like tables and chairs?
Well, there's actually no guidelines on that. Okay, so it really depends on the employer. If the employer will do it. I have clients. Well, I have even drafted agreements on internet connection because I have clients who actually advance the cost. Okay, they advance the cost, but of course, in the agreement, there's always a clause on employment retention because, of course, the client is trying to, should also try to recover the cost. Okay, so it really depends on the client because nowadays, or for a certain period of time, people, especially the millennials, cannot live without internet. So if you tell me that I cannot do work from home because I don't have internet connection, I'll begin to wonder why you are so busy with your chat of work, and yet when it's work, you can't do it. So you can say, of course, you can claim that you cannot do work from home because you don't have this equipment, everything. But at least most of the BPOs who are my clients, they actually give laptops to their employees, or they allow them to bring the whatever it is, whether it's a PC, laptop. But of course, they have to determine the security issues because there's always an issue about confidentiality, non-disclosure, everything. Okay, so in fact, even in our office, we allow work from home, but there's always a pre-clearing of your internet connection. Okay, because the employer should ensure that there's no security issues. But to say it, I don't think you can force the employer to give whatever you want. Okay? It's a give and take.
Okay. Thank you, Attorney Alan. There's also a question here with regards to job offer. No, can the company retract a job offer that has already been accepted? Anyway, the candidate has not yet signed the employment contract. So would that be valid?
Well, it's like this. The law doesn't really require, in the first place, the law doesn't require a written contract. Okay? If you look at the labor code provision on that, it says, I think, notwithstanding any written contract, okay, or the absence of it, you are bound to be employed by the employer. Now, in this case, there's an offer of employment. That offer came from the employer. I don't know what's in the offer of employment, how it's stated. Are there qualifications or conditions before the offer is binding on the employer? But it's a plain and simple offer of employment, then the employer will be bound to honor it. However, as I've said, now is a time for employees and employer to work hand in hand. So I would suggest management to talk to that employee and try to explain. Maybe the term of employment can be deferred. I've assisted a client who did that. Okay, talk to the employee. Of course, in that case, the employee actually is an executive, so it's easier. Okay, talk to the employee and try to ask him or her to defer, for them to defer the start of employment. Because, as I've said, the employment contract, it's not even an ordinary contract. It's actually vested with public interest. And in ordinary contracts, there's a principle about mutuality of contracts. When you enter into it, one cannot just get out of it without the consent of the other. That's the general rule. So in this case, we're talking about an employment contract, which I've said is vested with public interest.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Alan, for those questions. No, for your answer. No, so we're just really going through a lot of, there's really a lot of questions here. RD Mimi and Attorney Alan, no, we're just really trying to see the most relevant ones. And this can be answered by either RD Mimi and Attorney Alan, and probably you can share your views with regards to this. Is it legal if we let the employee sign a declaration upon resumption to work that they are COVID-free, not considered PUM/PUI, and that they are required to inform the management if they come upon any potentially risky situation exposing themselves to COVID risk? And if ever they violate this, what action can we do against the employee? It's like the employee is being asked to sign a declaration that they are COVID-free, and if they would be in a situation that they would be under risk of COVID, then they must report it to their employer. So is that a valid declaration?
Well, if the good director will allow me, I've actually advised a client already regarding that. And in fact, I've reviewed the questionnaire. There's a questionnaire with questions, okay, of course, that the employee should answer honestly. And as I've said, we are not in ordinary times. We are in a very difficult time. Nobody knows where the virus is, whether it's with you, with me. You cannot tell. The employee may be asymptomatic. So it should be a requirement. For me, in fact, I tell you frankly, our law office demands it. Because it's a must. I mean, you don't know what your employee is doing 24/7. You don't know where he is, she is going, and what she's doing. I mean, I think it's a reasonable, for me, it's a reasonable and legitimate requirement. Because just imagine if you don't say, you're dishonest, you don't tell properly, you don't answer the questions properly, and you have the virus, then the company will close. And you will be, and your negligence or neglect will affect adversely all employees, and that's sad.
Okay, my stand is similar to Attorney Alan, because we have to protect the lives of those people that are within the organization already. Now, without those documents that is going to sign, I think it's also a risk that the company is taking. Although technically, it should be the professionals, health professionals, that should also be giving that kind of clearance. However, the declaration itself should be a necessary document in the absence of any certification from the authorities such as health personnel.
Well,
Okay,
of course,
thank you so much.
Yeah, if I may add, I would suggest that in your disclosure, you also put a guarantee and warranty that you will protect the data and information.
Yes.
Because you have the data privacy law. You have to do that, and that when the situation allows for it, you will destroy the data. I mean, you have to be fair to the employee as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Attorney Alan. We received a couple of requests from our viewers. Attorney Alan, would you be able to share with us a template of that declaration for the reference, now, Attorney Alan?
I cannot do that because I'm bound by the client with confidentiality clause.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Attorney Alan. Yeah.
But it's actually prepared also by their medical. If I recall, if I'm correct, it's reviewed by their doctor, company doctor. He was the one who actually put the questions.
Okay. Thank you so much, Attorney Alan. RD Mimi, we have a questions with regards to the GCQ guideline. 20 below and 60 above are strictly to stay home. What if these people are still working and part of the approved businesses to open? Can't they go back to work?
Hindi gusto ni employer yan, but it is being imposed by authorities. So are you to say no to the imposition of authorities? Example, if the president would tell us, o kaya si Governor Gwen, may ganon siyang issuance dito sa atin sa Cebu, o kaya si Mayor Labella, who are we to say no? Or else, you will be facing the cancellation of your permit kasi you are not following the rules and regulations executed by our local government units. So ito naman ang mga tao na to, hindi sila makapagtrabaho. Marami na, telecommuting na tayo, work from home, na pwedeng magagawa. The employer should look into this. Sabi nga ni attorney, we have to discuss both workers and employers relative to the situation. Sa pandemic ito, sino may gusto mag-COVID tayo? Wala. Yeah. Diba? So therefore, pag-uusapan ito, hindi ito pa-hard-hard. Ako kasi employer ako. Ako naman empleyado ako, I always demand of my right. Ako naman si management, mag-demand ako ng aking, di ba, yung walang kamatayan na yan, demand yung employers, di ba, prerogative and right of the workers. At this time, wala na yan, pag-uusapan. So si attorney nga, sabi niya, lawyer yan ha, nagsasabi sa atin. So sabi niya, pag-uusapan ninyo, kasi pwede mang hindi lang isa, mag-agree kayo ng mga agreements nyo dyan. Huwag nyo loss forever. Kasi mamatay tayo na ngayon, loss pa rin. Diba? So, tingnan natin yung mga situation.
Okay, thank you so much, RD Mimi, no, for sharing your views with regards to that. So, do we have a live in phone question for RD Mimi and Attorney Alan? Okay, so thank you so much, RD Mimi Shaton, no, and Attorney Alan Fontanosa. This has been quite a short but very enlightening coffee table discussion, no, with our members. So thank you so much for your time and sharing them with us.
Thank you too for inviting us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney, thank you.
Thank you, Director. Good to see you finally.
Yes. Okay, I hope you can also drop by when you are here at
Sure. Okay. If I have notice of strike, I'll drop by.
Okay. Wag na ngayon, attorney. Wag muna ngayon. Wag muna ngayon.
Yeah.
Okay. After COVID na. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, everyone. PMAP, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Attorney Alan and RD Mimi. And so at this point, we are going to already towards the conclusion of our PMAP Cebu e-GMM. So to close and adjourn this meeting, may we request our PMAP Cebu President, President Grace Iligan, PhD, for her closing remarks.
Wow. Good afternoon once again. We survived learning via new normal platform. And indeed, it was a very fruitful afternoon with warm interactions for our attendees and speakers. So thank you, everyone. But before we will officially close, please allow me to express my sincere gratitude to the technical team who made all this possible, headed by our technical director, promoted Bagulang, Chair Neil Antiquina, and our host for this afternoon, Trustee Ayan Riel. Both of them are from membership committee. Also our ever supportive immediate past president, Pinky Manti. She is now our in-house IT. Trustee Ann Dipareni, our PRO, and Trustee Udit Kambuanga, our treasurer, and VP Ray Pailnar. All of them have their respective tasks and struggled to be tricky, adapting the new normal norms. They've been working for 2 weeks just to pull everything together. And of course, special thanks to Sir JM of Intellicare for sharing his premium plan, accommodating us all and patiently guiding the entire PMAP technical team. Sir JM and the entire technical team, given all these challenges and entering this new normal platform, you are all simply amazing to work with. Thank you so much. And of course, special thanks to Intellicare for partnering with PMAP. And thank you to Sir Chito Ricamadas, the VP of IntelliCare, for approving the partnership. But of course, without our speakers' generosity of their time, which we hope we can invite them again for another webinar, we will not be able to make all these things possible. So in behalf of PMAP Cebu, I would like to sincerely thank also our speakers, our past president and Visayas National Trustee, Mr. Mike Godinez, past President Attorney Alan Pontanosa, and our Honorable Region 7 Dolly Director, Ms. Mimi Shatton, for being with us this afternoon. And thank you so much for gracing PMAP e-GMM. Special thanks also to our members and guests who participated this e-GMM, including those who hook up via FB Live. Your participation is truly appreciated. PMAP Cebu hope to continue that you will continue to support us. So for more updates on upcoming webinars, please visit our website and FB page. And if there is no other issue that we need to tackle this afternoon, so I declare this meeting adjourned. Stay safe and God bless everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, President Grace, for that message. So at this point, we'd like to request all of our members who join us right now, who have their crazy, sexy, cool hats with you. Can you please raise your hand so that we can turn on your video and then, we can take a group shot. So, something fun, something different for the new business normal. Okay, panelists, you may now start your video if you have been if you have raised your hand and you have been promoted as panelist. Okay, so I guess it's time for us to take a group shot. Ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you so much for joining our first ever PMAP Cebu. Okay, so
Si Ma'am Vera,
Miss Vera,
naapas, wala pilong picture.
Miss Vera, Miss Vera is going to join us. So once again, thank you so much for joining us, and please to join us in our next activities. We have one every Wednesday of May. Thank you so much. Please check out the PMAP Cebu Facebook page for more updates.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
So.
Okay. And in your video settings, you press kanang i-unclick ang green background.
Yay!
Okay.
Wait, one more attendee. Wait. One more attendee.
Para dili magmurag kuan ang imuhang kuan. So
Lagi kay wala ko nag-solid, no?
Oo. So choose virtual background. Unya sa ubos, i-unclick I have green screen. Unya ra, what's up?
Sorry.
I have a green screen, i-uncheck na siya.
I have a...
I-uncheck lang.
Ma'am Grace, wala kay video. Wala na, we're clear.
We're clear.
Nakita ni mo, Ann?
Wala na ko nakalimutan.
Okay. Ang na-icon sa icon stop video sa ubos. Lower left. Kita
Okay.
ka, and then
Yes.
arrow. So
Video
you click that.
settings.
Yeah, video settings, and then go to virtual background. And then at the bottom, you uncheck. I have a green. Uncheck. I have a green background.
Sir Neil, I'll stop the video, the recording now, ha?
Wait for Ma'am Pinky.
Kita na lang crazy hat.
Okay.
Crazy hat.
Ma'am Pinky, we need to turn off the recording.
Yeah.
Okay.
Technical